Ladies and gentlemen, this is an article that came out December 5th, 2018. Good guys with guns don't include black guys. And this is going to go back to what I said to you before. If we are doing something helpful out in public, we're helping man, woman, child, and when the cops come rolling up, instead of finding out what's going on, they come rolling up, guns ablazing. And the last two incidents have showed us this. Black guy out in public trying to help in a situation where a perpetrator was there firing guns. We saw that with the bar in Illinois, and we saw it in the case in Alabama with EJ. He was trying to help people get away from the gunfire. Cop shows up on the scene in both incidents. Black guy actually saving people, and guns ablazing, and they kill the one that was trying to help in both of those situations. So the way I see it, ladies and gentlemen, if we help people and it's going to be viewed negatively, then we got to back off of all of this helping out in public. I'm serious. If us helping somebody out in public is going to cost us our lives, then fuck them. They're not worth saving. I'm dead serious. They're not worth saving. We got to learn how to keep it moving out in public and not get involved. It's not appreciated anyway. See, you got one time to show me if I make an effort that you don't appreciate it, or I was supposed to do that. I tell you what, you won't see it happen no more. I am not going to go above and beyond for a bunch of people that will never appreciate. I'm not going to do it. I'd rather go in public, pay my bill. I was just out yesterday. I paid my Comcast bill. And I got someone coming to my house tomorrow because I'm actually having some outside problems with my cable line. So those lines are going to be replaced and I should be okay. But if our efforts are seen by a cop coming on the scene as something bad, then I'm not going to do nothing. And I'm suggesting to all of my Black brothers and sisters out here to back off of doing all this helping people out in public. They're not going to appreciate it anyway. And we know the cops are not going to appreciate it. We have seen their reaction over and over when a Black person is trying to save a life or is trying to help. We've seen their reaction. So if that is how they're going to conduct themselves when we are doing something good, then don't do anything good. Pay your bills, buy your lunch, go to work, go to school, go shopping, and take your ass home. Second Amendment proponents often say the way to save lives in active shooter situations is for more good guys to be armed with guns and trained to use them. But that logic breaks down dangerously when that good guy is Black. It's not safe for a Black man to carry a gun in America, even when he's a law-abiding citizen. It is not safe, even if he had been enlisted in the military. It is not safe because when police encounter a black man with a gun in America, they often shoot first and ask questions later. Ladies and gentlemen, because of that kind of mentality that these cops have, I don't care if their men, women, and children are screaming for help, you turn the other way and keep it moving. They're not worth saving. If we end up dead in the process, then they're not worth saving, in my opinion. E.J. Bradford, 21, was just the kind of citizen you'd want to be armed in an active shooter situation. He worked for the city of Birmingham and he helped care for his father, a former corrections officer, is battling cancer. That's a damn shame. That's a damn shame. He enlisted in the army. His father stated that Bradford had obtained a concealed carry weapon permit from his local sheriff's department as prescribed by Alabama law. But when a gunman opened fire in River Chase Galleria Mall near Birmingham on Thanksgiving night, wounding a young man and a 12-year-old girl, an off-duty police officer working as mall security randomly shot a black man who happened to have a gun. He assumed Bradford was the shooter and killed him. Now, remember, all the shots were from behind. So he was moving away along with everybody else in the crowd. And he came up and just started shooting. That's why I'm saying these cops don't do no real police work at all. Especially when it comes down to us. They don't do no real police work. This is why policing in America is extremely poor. And they do all of that complaining about Chicago. And Chicago police have the worst crime-solving record in the entire country. So what good are they? Good for crimes, that's all. Because we know the crimes are coming from them. That's why nothing is getting resolved, because then they would have to finger themselves. The Hoover Police Department quickly praised the officer's response. Later, the department recognized its error and retracted the statement, saying the shooter was still at large. It was not Bradford. That Bradford was not the threat, but yet they tried to blame him for his own death, y'all. And that's another thing that we must consider when we're trying to help. If that cop comes up and shoots you, the black person trying to help, they're going to turn around and put your death on you. Another reason not to help. Okay. And yet, in the same statement, the department said that Bradford brandished a gun, which he did not do. They didn't, at the time when the cop shot him, he was from behind. He didn't have the gun. The gun was still on his waistband. So there's no way from behind he saw that. They said it wasn't until after he was shot they saw the gun on him. So that cop had no idea he even had a gun. He didn't see no gun. The gun was still clipped onto him, clipped on the waistband. He never took it off. And when he shot him from behind, and after he was shot, then they realized he had a weapon. But see, ladies and gentlemen, all of this should have been realized before the cop came up shooting. He should have done good enough investigative work when he showed up on the scene to realize the perpetrator had already left, ran out of the mall, made it from Alabama into Georgia. but they're congratulating themselves over a fuck up. Sounds about right, don't it, y'all? Okay. During the seconds following the gunshots, and the fact that he had a weapon made him a threat. But you know what, ladies and gentlemen? There were a lot of people that came forward after the shooting and said they were armed in the mall. There were a lot of people armed in the mall that same day of the shooting. There were a lot of people walking around in that mall with their weapons. He was not the only one. My interpretation of that statement, Bradford should not have pulled out his gun because he was black. And black people in America apparently don't have the same right to defend themselves as other citizens. Again, another reason not to help. Another reason. So if your expectation is I don't have the right to defend myself because I'm black, then fuck you. I'm not helping you. You fall down and break your leg in front of me, I'm not helping you. Because number one, your cops are going to come at the scene and believe I broke your leg. So, being that is the thinking among these people, I'm not helping. Okay, so now let's move on. Where is the NRA's defense of a black citizen's right to legally and safely bear arms? The NRA is a white supremacist group. They are not going to come out over black people bearing arms at all. And we've seen them do this over and over. They're not going to do it. And I don't have no expectation of them doing it. I don't like the NRA either. And I am happy that New York is taking their asses down. That is the best news ever. Last year, after the Parkland school massacre, the Florida legislature was so convinced that arming private citizens was the best way to prevent future tragedies. It passed a law that allows schools to arm specially trained individuals. The concern I raised then was born out of last month in Alabama. If those armed individuals are black, they will run into the same problem as Bradford, and we know that. That is very true. A promising life. When police arrive at the crime scene, they see all black people as a threat. Even if what they are really looking at is a black person legally carrying a gun. That's right. That's all the more reason why we got to stop helping anybody out in public. Because no matter whether we are good or not, the cop is always going to show up at the scene and assume the black person is the threat. So until they change that pattern of behavior, black people, you cannot help anyone out in public. You can't do it. You're going to have to attend to your own business and keep it moving. How can we reasonably expect the police to quickly and accurately determine good guys with guns versus bad guys with guns when they instantly assume that the black guy with a gun is bad? Bradford paid the ultimate price, not on the battlefield, but in a shopping mall. His family members will carry the pain of his unnecessary loss every day for the rest of their lives. How much more evidence do we need to be convinced that the implicit bias against people of color is a real and present danger in America? Our nation is overdue to have a crisis of conscience and to finally do something about it. They won't. They won't. And the fact that they won't do anything about it, I won't help. I won't help. Helping you is too dangerous for me, so therefore I won't do it. But please tell me what you think, ladies and gentlemen. I know there'll be people, oh, you shouldn't feel that way. I do feel that way. So don't bother writing me no crap. You're not going to change my mind. When I see my people falling to gunfire every time they are out here trying to help, I am going to tell them not to help. Period. That's my opinion, and I stick with it. Please leave your comment and subscribe. Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.